What up? Been making. Was gonna make a demo video of the stuff I got going on out here on multiple platforms. I got my live keyboard rig set up over here, but I'm too tired, so I'm gonna play a little on this 1972. So Iconoclast, one of my YouTube subscribers, was always pushing me to get finished up with this 1972 restoration. So I've made great strides on it recently. I had to put damper felts up on the top, so I did that. So now at least I've got notes that go all the way up to high C, and I got 3-octave voices pretty musically for the first time in a long while. And I'm doing the voicing using Mackie C200s. Can you see them? Yeah, you can see them. So here and here, and I'm right in the middle of the sweet spot. I'm not back quite far enough like you need to be, but it's near field monitoring, and I got my ears tuned in to where I could get a decent voicing, which is the most difficult thing when you do the restoration of the Rhodes. Anyway, so it sounds okay coming through the Mackies, and I run it through a Roland stereo chorus to make it move a little bit. But once I got that done, I go back and I plug them into the Leslie 60s, right, which are from the 1970s, and they got a space generator that creates this faux phasing. And I have a Lexicon LXP5 that's giving me a little bit of repeating echo delay. So this is, I did the top octave voicing tonight roughly, so now I got probably 4 octaves, and for the first time the piano is sounding nice and clear and strong. And the volume knobs, the wiring harness that came from Vintage Vibe, broke, so I bought a new old stock pot. It's a 15K. I bought 2 of these from the Rhodes Scholar off of eBay, and I put it in because you need volume control, because this 72 now is putting out an enormous amount of sound off of the harp now that the electronics have gotten all cleaned up and it's grounded. An enormous amount of powerful sound, so you need a volume knob to be able to pull that down. So here's my Leslie preamp, and this is what the piano finally is sounding like. And I gotta pull the volume way back because it overdrives the camera. needless to say, when the vintage vibe pots failed, here's the volume pot, and the wire, the main lead, just got tugged on a little bit, but enough to where it just broke the circuit board right off. So this is the volume pot. It came from Vintage Vibe. They say it's a CTI. This harness cost me about 35 bucks. And here's the tone pot, and I find them that probably they're acceptable, but like everything, they're not as well made as the vintage stuff. So I had to take these out. I'm using their jack, but using this new old stock 15K pot. So there's no tone control. And damned if you don't really need it, because if you voice it correctly and accurately, then you set the tonal characteristics of the Rhodes. How much low end, how much high end, so you don't need a tone pot to be adjusting your bass. And that is the challenge, right? So I think I'm pretty good. Okay, so I'm going to turn the vibrato off, turn the volume up a little bit. Now, what I notice is that you're used to doing this work with the lid open, and I put the lid back on so that it would mask any acoustic mechanical noise. And also that these Leslie 60s have 10-inch speakers in them, 10s. So they're 10-inch 4 ohms. So dig it. This is what was in them originally. These are Utah speakers. This is a heavy-duty magnet, man. And these sounded really good, but they're old, so brand new Jensens don't have the low end, right? Maybe in quite the volume because it doesn't have this big magnet, but they sound really clean and musical. But only two 10s. Two 10s, a 10 and a 10. No tweeter, nothing for treble, just this beautiful rotary capacitor that produces this phase. Now I don't know, because I put this new old stock 15K replacement Marshall Fender pot in there, if it changed the tonal characteristics. For the longest while, whenever I was doing the voicing, I didn't have a volume pot. It was just straight off of the jack. And probably that is good, because you're hearing the root level of the Rhodes, the way that they like to record off the harp. So you can hear better so that you can do the voicing better, but I needed a volume pot. It sounds a little bit darker to me now than it did, but you need a pot. So lexicon is damping down the tonal response just a little bit. You normally would want to run this through an effects loop. Anyway, I'm going to pop the lid. And let's just take a little look-see. So, iconoclast, get the 72 done. Well, here are my new damper felts from Avion, and they are working well. So these are glued in. I have this many more tone generator assemblies from here to clean, but all of these have been done. New screws and grommets cleaned. The electronics have been tidied up. There's no RCA jack. Got a good ground to put a new ground into the harp here. There was some green fungi over here. Cleaned that up. Put a new ground wire on. And here's my crazy jury-rigged new old stock 15K pot. So this is oh, and the key bushings have been fixed. So these have been replaced by steaming off that top piece of wood and using a caul to glue in these new pieces of felt, and then use hide glue to put them back together. So for the first time now, Mr. 1972 cleaned it up a bit, is finally taking shape. I also cleaned a lot of corrosion off of the metal part of the harp whenever it was lifted up. There was tremendous corrosion, and it, like there is here, right in here. This is really dirty. But nice progress, and it's sounding pretty musical, so grooveness. But that's the 72.